And a lot of people, when they think of sales, they think of, I'm not a salesperson. But really, we all are. Because if you're transferring some information, say with your kids, and you're negotiating with them to do something, you're basically saying you're selling. Sales is when you transfer something from one person to another, and it has value in it. And so that person either pays you in some type of way for the value that you're giving them. And that's basically a sales transaction. Because think of our grandbaby, we're always trying to get her to do something. So we're always trying to get her to do something that we want. So we're selling her on something, and she's selling us on something. And what we're trying to do is say, okay, for this here, I want you to do this here. And that's basically a sales transaction. The mindset that a person should have that's selling anything should be one of, do I have value? Do I have something that this person needs? Not what I want them to have, but is it something that they need? And also, you should really have something that has a need for them, has a need for them, and then what their need has to have is a value set to it. And the value is what they're willing to pay for what you have. What we run into the problem of doing is always trying to get somebody to do something that we want instead of something that they need. So as a person that has something, you have to actually go about it and say, okay, I'm not thinking for what I want. I'm thinking for, does this person have a need for what I have? Are there any standard questions that you should ask somebody? I think a basic question you would ask somebody is, what do you want? What is it that you're looking for? You know, I mean, with anybody in general, and you can't say that there's a list of standard questions, but something that you want to know about a person. If you're asking them something, the first thing you want to know is, what do they want? What are they trying to get from you? I mean, that's a basic thing. And then another thing is, what are they trying to do with what you have? You know, because say, for instance, you were talking to someone today and that person needs something and you didn't know what they needed. So the first thing to ask them, instead of just rattling off some things of what you can do, was to say, what are you looking for? You know, and you're trying to get from them some questions that you can answer for yourself. But most people want to talk, but the thing that you have to do is you have to listen first. And you have to find out, what does this person need and what does this person want, so that you can have something, if you have it, that can fulfill that need. If you're dealing with anyone, you want to come with a positive attitude, right? You want to have an attitude that says, I'm willing to help you with what you need, versus I just want what I want from you, and if I can't get it from you, I'm not interested in what you have to say. And that's something that a lot of people run into when they're dealing with selling somebody. What they're doing is they're not listening to them, and they're ready to talk before they listen. So you can almost see that the person is not really in tune to what you're saying, because they're so busy thinking about what they want to say, when really they have to listen. So that's a key part of any sales, is just listening to what the person is saying, and not even thinking in the mindset that I want to speak. Part of it is just saying, I'm going to listen to this person, see what they have to say, and then the questions that you ask will kind of determine to you what you need to hear from the person, to see if they are actually, if they have a need that you're thinking that they need. A person asking you for more information. That's what an objection is. When they're saying, I don't understand what you're saying, or I'm not interested in what you're saying, they're simply saying, I don't have enough information. So a lot of people get afraid of objections because they're afraid to hear the word no. But really, an objection really sets you up where, if you think about it, an objection gives you more information to get to that person, or to give them more information about what you have. So let me go back and give you a perfect example. If you have a person and they say, I'm not interested in what you have, they're really letting you know that they're not ready to buy what you have yet. So that gives you a chance to go through your bank and your information to say, okay, this person is not where I want them to be in the process. So I have additional questions, or I have some things that I need to let them know about the product or service that I have, because they're just not ready yet. And so when you hear an objection, that's probably the best thing that you want to hear, because a person who tells you yes to everything, they're usually not serious about getting what you have. Because at the end of the day, wouldn't a person have a question or a concern about what you're doing? Anything? Like if a person walks up to you and they have no questions for you, that's usually because they're not interested. Most people want to hear that, but really in reality, that's not even a great situation that you want to be in, because you want a person to ask you a lot of questions, to have a lot of concerns, so that you can answer everything and get it all out the way. So you had a potential customer ask you some questions, and one of the things they asked you was price. And if you give a person a cost and they don't see any value in your cost yet, then you probably have done a disservice for them and for you, because you weren't even sure if you could take care of the customer yet, because you hadn't asked them any questions about what they wanted. So that goes back to that first question of finding out. The most important thing is what does that person or company or business or person want? Because if you don't know what they want, you can't address what they need, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to say, okay, this person needs this, and can you service this? And so what you want to do is you want to get all their questions out. And that's where you might say a person might have an objection to it, or a concern, or they may just want to know more information. So that's healthy for the conversation. Because if you're good at what you do, it's not a combative situation. It's more of you're answering their questions, their concerns. You're answering the things. You're taking them through on a path. And at the end of the path, they see where your product has the value that it needs for them. Under what circumstances would I recommend that a person would get something free from you? I think there's times when you want a low barrier to entry to your product or service. Meaning that you make it so easy for a person to get involved with you that they can't say no. So that's where if you are having something for free, whether it's a free seminar, whether it's a free product, if it's a service, you're basically letting them know that you're willing to give them something of value for them trying it. Now, the nice thing about it is that if you're giving something that's like free, what you're really doing is you're saying, I have confidence in what I have, right? That when they try it, they're going to like it so much. So that's where the value comes in. And that's where the free part, like if you give them something free and it stinks, then what have you done? You basically made the person run from you. But if you give them something and you're getting something in return, say if it's opting into a free, like something online, or if it's a product like one of our products where we're giving it as a free product for them to try, a free sample, we're still doing the same thing. We're saying for this free product, I want something from you. And what we're getting usually is an email address, a phone number, and a way to stay in touch with that person. Because we see that they would need our product or service. We want them to try it, and then we want to stay in touch with them. But we're not trying to sell it on the free part. We're not trying to sell directly at that time with the product or service. What we're trying to do is get them to see it, be aware of it. We're marketing it, so we're making it something that we can get a lead from, and then eventually we can sell it. At what time do you know when you should be listening to a customer or a potential customer and they're giving you buying signals to say, I want to buy this now? That could start, a person could start buying your product from the moment they meet you. It's some people that you meet and they'll say, I was looking for that. I've had customers that I walked in the door and they said, that's exactly what I wanted, and they want to buy it right then. So that's it. They don't have any questions. But what you can't do on that other end is you can't go, I've got all this information, I want to sell it to them because I've been working on this presentation, or I've been working on this, getting ready to talk for hours and hours and hours, and then you just start talking and talking and talking and talking. And then you lose the person and you lose the sale because you over talk it. So you have to look at the signals that the customer is giving you. If that customer says, how much is it? And you say, are there any questions that you have? Because price is not the most important thing in this. We want to make sure that you want to use it. We want to make sure that it's right for you. And price, I guarantee you at the end, that'll be the best thing that you'll get. Because if you think that this is of value to you, the price will be great for you. So you can defer back, and what we do is we call trial closes, which is just testing along the way if that person has any questions that they want to answer. And we'll talk about that in detail later, how to trial close. The most important thing that you need in order to start moving in a direction to have a potential prospect get your product. And you know what that most important thing is?
What is that?
It's a lead. You gotta have a lead. Now, back in the day, we used to talk about having a funnel. And that funnel, we would fill it up with potential prospects. And you put them in there. And then at the bottom of the funnel would be a sale. But during that funnel from the top, you're adding people in. And those are people that are most likely to be candidates that want your particular product. One of the worst things that could happen to any business, any salesperson, anybody who's trying to have any customer that brings in revenue is to be talking to the wrong people. Can you imagine you want to sell a vehicle to somebody, but yet you're talking about the wrong type of vehicle? You have a mother who needs a minivan, or she needs a car for her family to drive around, but you're talking to her about a tractor and farming equipment. That wouldn't work, right? But that's all you know is that's what you have. So you're constantly talking to her about this tractor. And she's looking at you and she's like, this person won't shut up. Remember, a person came to our house one time and they wanted to sell us something, and they talked for about an hour. And I just let the guy talk and talk. And at the end, I told the young man, I said, I have no need for what you have. I said, I didn't mind listening to you, but I don't have a need for that. And he walked away confused because I let him talk. I was being nice. But for him, it was a waste of his time. He amused us because, we just let him in. We was being nice. We didn't want to, I don't know why we just listened and listened and listened. But at the end of the day, we didn't need it. And he could have stopped the conversation within a minute and said, this is what I have. Do you guys have any needs for this? And we would have said no. When you first meet someone, what you want to do is what we all try to do. You want to try to find something that you have in common with the person you're talking to. It's just interesting the way people will meet another person, and not try to find something of commonality or something that they both have an interest in. So part of it is just coming to that person with a sincerity. And then to be in any profession and to be good at it, you have to have a passion for it. So you have to have a passion to know people if you want to be good with people. And part of that is just knowing, okay, what do you like? What are the things that you're interested in? How many kids do you have? What's your kids' birthdays? Just things that let that person know that you're sincere about them and you're not just there to sell. Now, there's different personality traits that people have too, and we'll talk about that in detail, where you have different things that come up that will give you indicators of whether you can spend more time with the person or less time with that person. But you should always try to build what you call rapport, right? I mean, we build rapport. We've been married 40 years, and I still have to come to you and say, hey, baby, hey, what's up, girl? Because if I just came to you and just didn't talk to you or didn't communicate, we wouldn't have much of a relationship. So all relationships, whether they're personal, intimate, or business relationships, you still have to have that rapport that you build with those people so that you can have something in common. People want to deal with people that they like and they have a trust factor with. And you can't do that if you don't build any rapport, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to have rapport. So always remember, that's one of the first things that we teach is rapport, and how to gain that momentum with that person. Just because they trust you, they started believing in you, they like you. And that's before the product comes in. Because I've done all type of sales. I've been in sales where my background is in corporate sales. So I've come in and had to meet somebody for the first time. And I'm never going to go right into what I do without looking around the office, seeing who they are, seeing what we have in common, seeing the little things that we could talk about. Now, if that person is in a hurry, then you try to do it. And as you gain experience, you learn how to do it faster and easier. But you have to do it. You have to gain rapport. So what we're going to do is we're going to always bring you value. We're going to bring you information that's dealing with how to get business, how to deal with people, how to get rapport, how to get an offer. But in order to do that, there's a lot of things you have to do in between. And I want to make sure that you know all of these things. So again, I'm EJ the Edge Bassette, and thank you for coming to my channel. If you like what we're talking about, come back. If you enjoy it, we're going to always be here to bring you some value. Give us a thumbs up, give us a follow, and give us a click, and share with other people. Thank you. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.